Am I the asshole for telling my SIL that she upstaged me at my wedding? I, 30F, recently got married to Matt, 30. Matt has a stepsister, Tiffany, 28F. I have met her less than 10 times in the 5 years I dated Matt, as she doesn't live nearby and is not close to my husband. However, she was invited to our wedding. I should mention that Tiffany is very attractive. She is pretty, with a currently fashionable body type. She also dresses well and spends money on her appearance. This is well known, and even though I've only met her a few times, whenever she is brought up by my in-laws she always mentioned as being very invested in her image. I don't begrudge her this at all. The ceremony went fine, but afterwards, while my in-laws were congratulating me, my Phil commented that I looked beautiful, and in the next breath mentioned Tiffany did, too. His wife caught his eye and shook her head, but I ignored it. When Tiffany came over to say congratulations, she looked stunning. Her dress was beautiful and fitted her perfectly, her hair and makeup looked like they'd been done professionally, and she was wearing a pair of obviously designer shoes. Her outfit was totally appropriate for the event, but I was still weirdly upset by how she looked and immediately felt self-conscious next to her. Even Matt told her she looked great, and they rarely talk. For the rest of the night, every single male guest at the wedding asked about Tiffany, who she was, how I know her, if she was single, etc. By the speeches, I was fed up and almost in tears, and even the best man mentioned her in his speech off the cuff. I let it go, went on my honeymoon, and tried to forget the whole thing. We came back about a week ago, and this past weekend had dinner with my in-laws. Tiffany was visiting, and we learned that she had got engaged. She showed us her comically large ring and said she was planning to have the wedding next year and that it would be a black tie event. Before I could stop myself, I jokingly said that I was pretty sure I'd already been to her wedding. I was the one in the white dress. She asked what I meant, and I thought there was no point in lying, so I just admitted I felt she upstaged me at my wedding. She laughed and said, "You can't upstage a bride." I asked if I could wear white to her wedding then, and she shrugged and said, "If you think it'll help." She then apologized if I felt her outfit was inappropriate. My in-laws moved the conversation on and we went on with dinner. When we got home my husband blew up on me, saying I embarrassed him by being petty and jealous of Tiffany. He said he doesn't even like her, but even he knows she can't do anything about what she looks like or the clothes she can afford, and I made myself look bitter and childish, and him by association. I admit it wasn't my best moment, but I thought he would at least understand how I felt given that he heard everyone's comments that night. He's demanding I apologize to Tiffany and his parents, but I don't think I said anything that heinous. Am I the asshole? You are the asshole. You know what make Tiffany so attractive compared to you. Her confidence. If you think it'll help. What a classy, confident woman Tiff must be to react to such a petty, jealous attack with such a smooth shutdown and follow it up with an apology despite being wholly unnecessary. If you weren't busy feeling threatened by her, you could learn a thing or two. Hell, I'd love to learn a thing or two from her. Edit. So I read some of OP's responses, and apparently Tiffany has been engaged to be engaged for quite some time, and that class act of a woman presumably still waited until after OP's wedding to show off and wear her ring. What? Woman. You are the asshole. If you think it'll help, Tiffany is hilarious and beautiful. I don't begrudge her this at all. You sure about this? You are the asshole. Am I the asshole for asking my wife rhetorically if she wants our son to get hurt? I, am 28. Live with my wife Macy, F 28. We have an infant son named Leo. Leo is our first and only child, and is 5 months old. Macy works part-time and I work full-time. Macy works on Tuesdays but I don't. Macy normally leaves the house at around 8 a.m. to get to work on time, but I like to take the opportunity to sleep in when I can get it. Whenever Macy gets ready for work, Leo will usually start crying in his crib even after he's had his first feed of the day. This doesn't wake me up unless he's been crying for a little while because I'm a heavy sleeper. For the past 2 Tuesdays, Macy has decided to take Leo out of his crib and put him in our bed with me right before she leaves for work, even though I'm sound asleep. She doesn't do anything to wake me up because she's leaving for work, and Leo stops crying when she puts him in our bed. Luckily nothing bad has happened yet, but I know the risks of putting a baby in a normal bed with an adult sleeping in it. Leo crawls and I'm worried that he could fall out of the bed and hurt himself. I talked to Macy about this and told her to just leave Leo in his crib when she's getting ready for work. Macy got annoyed and said that she can't just leave him to cry, and said I'm a bad father for not noticing and waking up when Leo is in the bed, saying that if it was her, she'd notice and wake up. I got angry and told Macy that she's being unreasonable and asked her what she thought would happen if Leo fell out of the bed. I asked her if she wanted Leo to get injured. Macy got really mad and has gone to stay with her sister for a couple of days and took Leo with her, and hasn't been answering my texts or calls. She still hasn't come home. I've never seen Macy this angry with me before, so I'm wondering if I was the asshole for how I approached this. ETA. I get off work at 4–5 a.m. on weekdays, so I'm getting around 3 hours sleep when Macy goes to work. Macy only works 1 day a week. We don't need her income and I make more money, but she likes her job and I respect her choice to work. I work 70 hours a week and do my fair share of housework and cooking when I'm home, so I sleep like the deceased when I'm in bed. Everyone sucks here. You two are talking past one another and missing the real issue. She can't get ready to go to work with a crying baby. You unfortunately do not have the luxury of sleeping in on Tuesdays while he is still so young. You need to get up on Tuesdays and parent while she is getting ready for and going off to work. I like to take the opportunity to sleep in when I can get it. Yeah. No. When you are the sole available parent to a child who cannot communicate with you in any way other than crying, you get your ass out of bed before your wife leaves for work. Your sleep is not more important here. Should your wife leave the baby on the bed like that? No. But she's not wrong that you're not being mindful about your child and his needs. Your attempt at a guilt trip for it is just gross. It was manipulative and cruel. But more you. Am I the asshole for making rules regarding husband's new motorcycle? My husband, unbeknownst to me, bought a motorcycle from his best friend at work. It's a sturdy, old Honda from the early aughts in near mint condition. I'm horrified. My mother is a nurse and raised us to believe. We have a term in the for motorcyclists, we call them organ donors. Made my brother and I promised to never to ride on or get one. We have a beautiful 6-month-old baby at home, our first. Initially, I demanded he return it, but he said it was his lifelong dream to own a bike and kept saying how great it would be on gas. Motorcycle. Edit. Yes, he knew my views on bikes before we got married, and every time he brought it up I asked him not to do it. I knew he was interested in bikes, none of this lifelong dream stuff. So I said, okay, keep it, but don't drive it over 30 miles per hour and don't take it out of our neighborhood. We have a lot of side roads. Edit. Of course, it goes with saying he would have to have safety gear, a decent helmet, and pass the course required to obtain your license. In our state, helmets are mandatory. I said he can also take it up to the lake where he and his friend go fishing, if he promises he won't drive it over 30 miles per hour and stays off the highway. IOW, tows it up there on a trailer behind our car. Edit. What I mean here is don't take it on roads where the speed limit is over 30 mph or out on the highway. The roads in our neighborhood and around the lake have a posted 25 miles per hour speed limit. He says I'm being a controlling harpy and sucking all the fun out of his new toy. All I can see is him splat all over the asphalt and our daughter asking me, "Why is my daddy in heaven?" one day. Am I the asshole for trying to establish motorcycle rules? He should have discussed it with you. You're not his mother and he's not a child. Some people will say you are the asshole, I say not the asshole. My husband crashed, and broke his collarbone. Then went and bought another one without telling me. He is now my late husband. I wish I had put up more of a stink and made him sell it. Yes, he should have discussed it with you. But you clearly don't understand what motorized vehicles are for, and you are being absolutely controlling and unreasonable. Not over 30 mph? Not out of the neighborhood? Are you kidding me? My mom was a nurse too. I grew up calling them donor cycles. Yes, it's scary. But so is your reaction and rules. Am I the asshole for telling my neighbor andwah to stuff it and leave? I, 25M, own a lakeside property that was legally and officially given to me by my parents. I have been living here for 6 years and have some great neighbors along with some not so great ones. Of all my neighbors, I have only ever had problems with one who lives right next door named Marriott. She first moved in early this summer as she had the former house on her property demolished and rebuilt. My problem started with her over the use of my wood stove and fireplaces. And #X200B. With the temperatures getting colder, I have started to use them daily. My house is not equipped with any form of heating outside of the wood stove and a fireplace. This means that from fall until spring I will constantly have them going to keep my place warm. My family never outfitted the home with anything better because it was for weekend trips and we would winterize and leave it when things got cold. My parents thought of adding oil heating when I moved in, however I opposed it because it was a waste of money and didn't mind splitting logs. And #X200B. 5 days ago, after having received my shipment of logs for the fall, I was approached by my neighbor Marriott. She came around asking for my parents, to which I said that they don't live here and that I am the homeowner. She didn't believe me and said that I was too young to be a homeowner before leaving. Later that day I heard a knock at my door and thought it was my girlfriend, so I gave my usual greeting of, "Hey sweet cheeks," while opening the door. Unfortunately, it was not her and was Marriott again, so I apologized quickly and asked what she wanted. Once again she wanted to speak with my parents, to which in a more stern tone said that I was the homeowner. And #X200B. This time she finally got it and said that I am violating WA policy by using wood-burning fireplaces indoors and outdoors. In response, I said that as new as the house looks I am not a member of the group and that the town permits fireplaces and burning yard waste. She then went on to ask why I even needed them because they do nothing but harm the environment. I went on to explain that while the house exterior looks new, the house actually has been around since 1930 and still uses a wood stove and fireplace heating. She didn't believe me yet again and said she would be back with an inspector. And #X200B. Yesterday once again she came with another person who introduced themselves as an andwah inspector. They tried to talk about my fireplaces but I shut them down immediately and said that I am not a member of their group. The guy then tried to lie by saying that the WA is in control of all the properties in the area. I immediately called him out on the lie and said that he is either lazy or a moron for not knowing that I am not with them. We went back and forth one more time before I told them I will not listen to them and to stuff it and leave. And #X200B. Am I an asshole? Not the asshole. If this continues, inform the WA that if they continue to harass you, you have no issues looking into legal counsel. Also, let your neighbor know that she is not allowed on your property and if she come over she is trespassing. Not the asshole. But it's time for a lawyer to send a cease and desist to the WA and your neighbor. This isn't the last you'll hear from them. Not the asshole. Marriott needs to mind her own business. If she really cares so much about how you manage your home, tell her she can pay for it. Not the asshole. I would have done the same. I myself am 100% anti-WA. I don't feel like anyone should tell me what I can and can't do with my house or property. As for as wood heat, I prefer it over any other form. You do you. Not the asshole at all. WA seems like people who have nothing better to do than bully others in most instances anyway. And since you're not under that WA, you are not asshole and screw them for bothering you.